Hi guys, today I'm going to be telling you how to write a conclusion. So first, let's talk about the purpose of the conclusion. Very similar to the purpose of the introduction, but instead of getting our reader interested this time, we want to leave our reader feeling like they have a sense of conclusion and or a sense of closure, and leaving still thinking about our topic. So the first thing that we need to do is restate our thesis. What was this paper all about? What was the main idea? What were you trying to teach me in this paper? The second thing we need to do is remind the reader, what did you learn in this paper? So restating, what did I learn in paragraph 1? What did I learn in paragraph 2? And what did I learn in paragraph 3? And then we'll complete our paper by providing closure. So we confirm the main idea, and our goal is to leave our reader still thinking about what we were writing about. We want our paper to have a sense of purpose. So I'm going to be writing my conclusion for my paper on Hurricane Katrina. So I'm going to go back to my notes and I can look back at my introduction, and I first need to restate the main idea of my paper, restating my thesis. And in your introduction, your thesis should have been this last sentence. So the main idea of my whole paper was Hurricane Katrina was an extremely deadly storm that damaged life and property. So I'm going to be restating this thesis in a little bit of a different way because I don't want it to be exactly the same. Boring. So my thesis is Hurricane Katrina was one of the deadliest storms to ever hit the United States, destroying lives and property. So I'm restating generally what my thesis is, but I did it in a little bit of a different way, so that my readers know, what do I need to leave knowing? All right, now I need to remind them, what did they just learn in this paragraph, in this paper? What were my three main ideas all about? And those are these 3 paragraphs that we wrote about that we made into supporting paragraphs. And I gave them a glimpse of each of the paragraphs in my introduction. And so I'm also going to give them a glimpse of what they just learned in my conclusion. And so in my first paragraph, we were learning all about the basics of the storm, where it was, how it hit, how bad it was, that type of thing. So I'm going to restate that, reminding my reader what we learned. So I just said that it destroyed lives and property. Now I'm saying it spread across thousands of miles of land, covering Louisiana in water and ruins. And so I remember, because I was writing about how it impacted 93,000 miles. The storm surge, which was the water, went up to 25 feet, and it did a lot of damage. And so I reminded my reader in one sentence what we learned in that paragraph. It spread across thousands of miles of land, covering Louisiana in water and ruins. Now I'm going to remind them what we learned in this paragraph, and it was all about damage that was done, from money, from floods, damage to homes, debris. So I'm going to remind them, the storm flooded cities and destroyed a multitude of homes. I chose to use that word multitude because it sounds way cooler than saying destroyed a lot of homes. This is a little bit more academic language, and it makes you sound really smart. So the storm flooded cities and destroyed a multitude of homes. That was all about damage. Now I need one more sentence reminding my reader, what did we learn about in my last paragraph? And it was all about people and pets that were affected. And so I'm going to remind them by saying, additionally, good transition word, additionally, the storm took the lives of many people, their pets, and property. So just reminding them that we learned all about that in my third paragraph. Now, my final step that I need to do is I need to write a closing statement. Now, this is the last thing that your readers are going to read on your paper. You want it to close out your entire paper, and if you can, you also want to leave them thinking. So I always take a little bit more time to think about what would my most powerful closing statement be. So there are a couple of ways that we can do this. Just like when at the beginning, when we tried to hook our reader, now we're trying to give them a sense of closure. And so I could end with a question again, like, aren't you glad that you were not that you didn't get caught in Hurricane Katrina? There's a question, and it will leave my reader thinking. I could end with another interesting fact, how Hurricane Katrina was the third worst hurricane that's ever hit the United States. Or I could make a connection back to my introduction and just give my reader that sense of closure, and maybe even leave them thinking about what we just talked about. So I think I'm going to try making a connection to my introduction, and I went with this. Now, could we have come up with a better one? Probably, and we could talk about that when we're editing with a partner. Maybe your editing partner has another really good idea for a closing statement, and that's wonderful. But the one that I came up with is, Hurricane Katrina devastated Louisiana as it took land, homes, and thousands of lives. I wanted to leave my reader with that impact of how horrible this storm was. And so they leave feeling like, wow, that was a powerful storm. And this is what I came up with this time. But again, I could have chosen a question. I could have chosen another interesting fact, or a connection to my introduction that leaves them thinking. So I put all of this into my conclusion part of my Google Slides, and this wraps up our entire paper. I'm excited to see what you guys write. Do your best to leave your reader thinking about your topic.